So we have Aurore. And Aurore, I'd like to know all about you. And I know that everybody else wants to know everything about you. So I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself first. Just a little introduction.
Hi, so I'm Aurore. I do take pride in being very international, being very mixed, having various background. But I was born in Mauritius, and currently I am in London in the UK. I am a single mother with a beautiful 14-year-old boy who is my teacher in life, and he got me to be in a state of actually feeling compassion and good or not good, it was something I did not feel before. And I have obviously have to own up to that, and I'm happily owning up to that. Um, so I love playing badminton. I used to be a semi-professional volleyball player, so volleyball was my first love. And I love being active and walking, and the journey that took me into who I am now. I am an OTT hypnotherapist, relationship and fertility coach. Is my own dynamics, unhealthy dynamics with the masculine within, which for me was quite bad. I used to suffer from anger issues, and it's not a nice thing to feel because the whole body would hurt. And I did not understand what that is or why it would get triggered. And that got me into personal development because I had to change for my son. I didn't want him to feel bad because all of the problem was me, right? I had all of the difficulties, the inability to have compassion, inability to be vulnerable and to care, really. So I'm so grateful for him, super grateful for him. And he's a lovely boy. He's very sweet. And it got me to understand, the dynamics of the feminine and the masculine. And also with healing the feminine is really understanding um, the emotions, which is something that was very alien to me. When I got to get in touch with that, it got me also to redress my own masculine, getting to understand, to set up better boundaries, to up leveling my own standard, and everything started to shift. Um, and with that came, me going into astrology, which I love, getting to know, how we are in our own sort of energy system, how we operate, really. So that got me eventually to doing hypnotherapy because for me, we understand a lot of our belief system, our limiting belief system that prevents us from wanting to do certain things. And when we access that, it was for me, it was a lot of relief, and I felt it um, for most of the sessions quite straight away. So it was amazing, and I love it. I love it for me, and I love it for people I work with. So that's a bit about me. I don't know if it's a bit too much here.
It's a wonderful journey you've been on. It's lovely to hear your journey because it's brought you to who you are and where you are. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about who you work with and just to get some more insight into you because you help women who are brilliant at work but go quiet at home, I understand. So when did you first notice this pattern? Was it in a client or was it really in yourself?
I think it started with me. It started with my own anger issues, and I realized that I wouldn't connect to others because if they find out about me, I'm so reactive. they would not accept me, right? So I would be nice and loud and connecting to others and getting things done. But when it comes to connecting on a personal level, that was hard because I would not just because of the anger issues, the shame associated with it,
Yeah.
I would not allow myself to be vulnerable. And I noticed that, when I was talking to others and in terms of attachment style, I was a dismissive, and I wouldn't I wouldn't allow people to come close to me, right? And that's something I would notice even in my colleagues when I used to work full time. and they wouldn't allow people close or just limited. And again, they were very good at their job, um,
Yeah.
but 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 being vulnerable or allowing themselves to be vulnerable was difficult.
While it works, doesn't it? Until it
Yeah,
doesn't work. And when it stops working, then you have to do something about it. So,
exactly, exactly.
uh, if you've said the inconsistency is how we show up in laziness, it's not laziness, but it's protection, protecting ourselves. What do you mean by that?
So we have in our subconscious mind, or part of us, we have different parts, and different parts play different role. And when we look at that protective mechanism in terms of, feeling lazy about certain things, it's really in a state of that part, one of the part, protecting us. And it all happens during our formative years, right? I was having speaking to a client this week actually, and she went back to being 3 years old when she saw her uncle being drunk, and so her subconscious mind said, men is not safe. It's not safe to have men, and she's wanting a relationship. But the subconscious mind at 3 years old, and she would keep saying, I am free, and she's late 20s, I am 3 years old. And it's to protect her from men, push men away. So
Mm.
often we don't know it, right? But
No.
that part of us is the energy that walks in first before you are able to say something.
Yeah.
And as human being, we are very much feeling based. We're very much energy based, and energy speaks before language. So when we talk about, laziness or procrastinating, is that protective mechanism for most part, protecting us from disappointment, protecting us from often a fear of rejection, of not being enough. So
Yeah.
that's one part. And even though you have another part that says, oh, you really want that relationship, but the one in the subconscious will always win, sadly.
Yes. And how do you go about reaching that?
So I'll take the
Finding that
person.
3-year-old person.
Yeah, it was so amazing. So there's a process that we go to where the person is in trance, and also it's not because we do have different sort of hypnosis. So this one, you're fully aware what's happening. So I'll take the person into trance, and it's just fascinating. Like 90% of the clients I speak through, I call the part. I literally call the part, and it comes to talk to me. With some people who is a bit more challenging, I find like giving them a name work, right? So naming the part,
Yeah.
giving them an identity, and that comes through as well. And that makes it a lot easier for some of them. So yeah, they come and talk, and they come and talk to me. And in some situations, I've got the higher self who comes and talk to me, and it's just amazing, beautiful experience when they come forward. But yeah, they come and talk, and they just speak,
Yeah. Oh,
and
beautiful. That
yeah,
sounds really amazing.
it is very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there was a session I had that was nearly 4 hours long, and the part wouldn't want to go. That particular client has been bullied, and there's so much fear associated with being different. And even, I was talking about some part that protects you, but there's also a part that can punish you. And for that particular person, it was punishing her. So we had to find a way around this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it did eventually go, but it was a challenge for me.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved it because she felt so much different after the session and the very next day, to going out and about, and showing up to the world. Yeah,
And of course, every single client that you help, you learn something from it as well yourself. Of course, it's part of your journey as well. So it's
totally.
fascinating to see. And um, you also talk about being confident at work and hidden in love. So what does that actually mean? What does it look like?
I mean, it looks a bit like the other person. You know that when we're talking about the pawn that protects you, it's a bit the same. So when we look at again, when we look at the dynamics of the feminine and masculine, so often it's recommended for women to be 70% in the feminine and 30% in the masculine, because we're not built as men. Men, even though they have some feminine aspect, they're very much in the masculine. So when we operate from that masculine element that gets us to do things and achieve things and have success, because we do need to feel successful, and that's an amazing feeling to have. But however, when it comes to connecting with the emotions, the feminine aspect, because it is so alien for many of us, we've been so um, drilled on to say, oh, you need to achieve, you need to be successful, you need to be seen as you're performing and having outcomes. But when it comes to the relationship feelings do not talk about outcomes. It talks very much about feeling those feelings and feeling at peace within, feeling safe within. And it's difficult for a lot of women to let go of that masculine because, again, it's an identity shift, right? It's identifying, like, I've got this.
Yeah.
But even when we connect to that feeling, hidden in love, it's like, oh my gosh, how can I allow myself to be vulnerable? And it feels scary. It feels really, really scary,
Yeah.
um, because we're not used to it for most part.
No,
Um, yeah, and
certainly not.
yeah, I remember the first time I felt it, about 5, 6 years ago now, and the pure feeling of peace that I felt was amazing, and I loved it, and I wanted more of it.
I can imagine.
It was beautiful. Sorry?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. And so as a hypnotherapist, what is the most common thing that a client thinks is their problem that turns out to be something totally different underneath?
Oh my goodness, Carol, it is mind blowing. Like
Hmm.
this client I had this week, she was thinking it was something else. Coming out of the session, she was shocked, like totally shocked to see that it was her uncle. And we cannot. And the reason we cannot is that, 5 to 10% of our mind is conscious, right? Meaning our behavior is conscious, logical, willpower, thinking. It means that 90 to 95% is very much subconscious. And what's subconscious is we're not aware of it. We might think consciously of something, but subconsciously it's something else. Like, remember when I started, I had a session with a beautiful lady from Romania. I look at her chart. It was all fire, Aries and Sagittarius mostly. And she was stuck at home. She couldn't go out, or she wouldn't allow herself to go out. She would go out and work and come back home, but she wouldn't allow herself to enjoy a walk in the park. She just would not allow it. And so we had the session and find out that, when she was 6 months old, her mom tied her to the bed so that she wouldn't fall off the bed and hurt herself. And that prevented her from going out and enjoying space outside. And the very next day, she just flew to Paris. She bought a ticket to go to Paris. Consciously, there is no way we can go back to being 6 months old, recalling
Mm.
that while our mom
No.
tied her, with the best intention, being tied to the bed. But subconsciously, all the emotions, the feelings is very much subconscious. And once the subconscious lets go, the body has no choice to let go as well. No
Yeah.
choice.
An amazing
Doesn't have to
concept.
hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I was so
wonderful.
happy for her. I was saying
Yeah.
to her, you have so much fire in your child. You can't be indoors.
No. Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful result. And obviously something you work with more often, because you also work with the idea that self-sabotage is actually self-protection. So walk us through that, take us through that.
So again, when we look at that protective mechanism, right, for most part, right, it's protecting us from feeling the feelings, I have a client, I had a client last week, and for him, he said to me, I was about to get into a relationship with somebody, but I called it off because, in hindsight, looking at it now, he was scared that he's not going to be enough. And a lot of the time, when we sort of self-sabotage, is, am I good enough for that person? Right?
Yeah.
And it often brings me tears because it made me realize that we don't trust ourselves, we don't love ourselves enough to say, yes, I matter, I am
Mm.
enough, and I deserve this, right? And we
Yeah.
sabotage, whether it's in love, whether it's at work, we call things off because in our head we think one thing, and again, as an avoidant, we have a tendency to really think and not communicate those things to others. But communicating them is where the key is, right? Rather than staying, allowing it to stay inside,
Yeah.
suppressing it, and also overthinking it. And it doesn't lead to places. Yeah.
It really, really doesn't, does it? It's
No.
amazing how that works. And looking at what you do, you also read astrology, you use human design, as well as the more therapeutic work that you do. So let's say this is for the skeptic audience. How do these fit together rather than fight each other?
Yeah, I think they complement each other. And I find that so fascinating. When you look at somebody's chart and you realize that, I'm going to make a generalization here. Let's say for somebody who's got Virgo, they would have a tendency to, at home, to have the environment that gets them into a space of overthinking, of thinking they are shy, right? Thinking that they are introverted and those kind of things. So whatever you get to experience in the physical world get you to embody, we call it a lower frequency of your chart when you're born to begin with, because these are things that even as you get older you realize, oh, well, actually the other thinking is really dragging me down. It's not helping me. It's getting me to a state of, leading to panic attack and really not feeling good about myself. And that's when we start shifting from the lower frequency, and each sign has got low frequency and high frequency. From the lower frequency to the higher frequency of Virgo, which is healing,
Mm.
right? Which is the ability to heal and fix things and be really good at finding solutions, right? And we learn it. We learn it. And often people don't realize, they don't associate themselves very much with the sun sign. So they associate themselves a lot with a rising sign. And some people, they like their rising sign a lot more. And I love to do the shadow work with it to see what part of a particular sign or what part of what traits of a particular sign are you not accepting, and why are you not accepting it? Because when we look at accepting a sign, is accepting you who you are. And here I'm going to take an example of my Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun, and I never used to really like my Taurus. I'm thinking, oh, it's a lazy sign. And it's not lazy, but it's a quiet sign and it needs structure. I don't like structure. I'm very much Uranian. I'm very much Jupiterian, and I want to be, freed. Right? I'm Aquarius rising, so the element of freedom is so important for me. And Taurus feel I'm trapped. I'm boxed in. Um, and when it's funny because when we hit our 40s, that's when things starts to shift, and we start to, and I learn to, what can I accept here about my Taurus that's making me happy? Now I love scent, I love candles, I love my kitchen. So that's getting me in a space like, okay, that's how for me working with that shadow part is accepting more of me, and not just accepting but feeling prouder of it. And that
Okay.
for me was a key, yeah, that was a key aspect to accepting myself and loving myself, more when you use astrology. So in human design, when you understand there's 5 types of categories, And when you understand yourself into which one you fit in, you're not fighting yourself anymore, right? Yeah, it's an element. Oh, okay, that's how I operate. That makes sense. So as a projector, I can work 20, 25 hours max a week. So when I know I don't have the energy to do it, I have no shame, no guilt to saying, no, I need to stop.
Yeah.
And I know I can't fit into the majority, which is generator, like 60% of the world population being generators
Yeah.
who can work. Talking about manifesting generators, they can work even more. I cannot compete with that, and I don't want to compete with it. I'm
Mm.
very happy with how I am, with who I am. So using it in therapy allows somebody to additionally accept themselves even more. And I say, okay, well, that's who I am. Fine. Right.
Yeah. It's a belief. You've researched it. It resonates with how you are. So you accept it and you use that as well.
Yeah,
That's really interesting to hear.
yeah, totally. And I also want to add, especially when it comes to my anger issues, I noticed I had Pegasus, the asteroids Pegasus, close to my Mars, close to my moon, and they all oppose Pluto, which intensifies everything.
Yeah.
So that's the negative. But the positive is it helps me to help to do the work that I do, because I wouldn't have been able to do the work that I do if it wasn't for that. So
No.
everything, exactly, everything has got the good and the bad. So it all matters how we transmute it for ourselves, for our betterment.
Yeah. It's absolutely keeping things in balance. So I'm going to ask you, what is a belief that you have held confidently um, about relationships or healing that has now completely changed for whatever reason, for how you've been working, but
Yeah.
what has changed?
Well, a lot of the things. One of the belief is to not lower your standard, to not think like, you're not deserving of a relationship. For me now, I'm so happy, one, being on my own, being alone and doing things on my own. And I know when the person is coming in, is coming in. I'm very confident and at peace with that. And also the other one is not to put yourself, not to block your own path, not to be in your own way. And I found that a lot with myself and with clients is that, there's help out there, and let's do it. Um, the commitment to the self in honoring ourselves, in feeling good about ourselves, is is um, is a conception I never had before. So, and this is something I really want my own clients to feel proud about themselves and to really fully love themselves, because this journey has got me into a space of not knowing about how to care about me, to in a state where I really love myself. I really even love my anger part, because this allows me to say, okay, well, I choose when to have it and when not to have it. So that's very, very powerful. Yeah,
Very,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
very powerful, profound insight and a change that you've gone through that you can actually help other people with because you've gone through it.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah.
So you've talked about the difference between reaching out to find out if you matter versus reaching out because you already do. So, where did that distinction come from for you personally?
Oh, that's a good one. So I was doing some exercises recently, and sometimes we have a tendency to say you matter, but there's a difference between knowing that you matter to really knowing and feeling that you matter, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and we can really say it, however much we want, but getting to a space where you actually feel it, that's where the change really happens. And it's liberating to feel it. So it came through to me because I was into sports. And my dad, when I was young, he would say to me, Let's see who between you and your brother is going to the shop very quickly to to buy whatever thing and come home quickly. I used to enjoy doing it. And so we would go. And then when I was about 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, I realized that he's messing with me. And subconsciously, it was me having to prove myself that, I mattered, that, I was worthy because daddy's going to be happy that I was quick. And
Yeah.
even though like for a long time, I consciously said, okay, I don't need that. I'm not going to prove him. He can like sort of do what he wants. I'm not doing it. But it really didn't sink in my psyche, in my subconscious. So when I did my work and I realized that, oh, can you do that sort of thing irrespective of the outcome? And can you feel that you matter irrespective of whatever you're going to get, right? And that's when it sank in. I said, oh, that's what it feels like to really know that you matter. So
Yeah.
that's an important distinction to make for all of us because we all
Yeah.
matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much from the conditioning. So, yes, actually getting out of that and saying, I'm doing it for me. That's absolutely a fabulous angle to look at as well. So you also work with people who are trying to have a baby. So with your fertility clients, what is the emotional layer that people miss when they're often only focused on the physical side of trying to get pregnant?
Well, there's a lot of pressure on the physical because the physical is unconscious and it can only take you to a certain level. When I look at fertility, there's about 12 subconscious block that prevent somebody from conceiving,
Yeah.
and the stress associated with it does not help. So looking at that trusting your body, trusting that vessel that it can do what it can do, what it's meant to do, is missing in so many women and some men as well, because the quality of sperms has gone down. The tail is a lot shorter, and it takes about 5 hours for the sperm to reach the egg. So the sperm need to be strong to be able to swim around. And if it's not strong, again, affected by stress, affected by a poor diet, affected by sometimes just the body, how the body provides stuff. And when we don't have trust in the body can feel it, right? The body can feel it, and the body will react that way, in terms of lowering the egg quality, the sperm quality, and even the ability to conceive. So, so that's the missing part: trusting the body and just relying on the physical aspect of things.
Yeah.
That is not going to take us anywhere.
So you don't give swimming lessons, you really do actually work on the
Yeah,
No.
on the subconscious.
No, fabulous. I know it sounds so simple sometimes, but it's not. It's deep rooted. Yes.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very, very much so. And also there's also secondary fertility, where people have got one child and they can't have another child. And that's also sometimes a problem for many people. And there's lots of guilty people saying, "Oh, you should be happy you have one child."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people, we are different, aren't we? So some of us we really want to have some other many children, right? And
Yeah.
there's sadness associated with it.
Most definitely. Yes.
Mm.
Uh, I'm going to go to our final question. And this is if a woman listening right now recognizes herself successful, exhausted, silent at home, what's the first small thing that you, Aurore, would tell her to do that costs nothing?
Well, the very first thing is to connect to the emotions, because I will always go back to emotions. Because when we are successful at work, we are not able to get back into our body, right? We feel we have to stay in the mind. And if we're really wanting a connection with somebody, it's very important to go back in the body and to feel those feelings and actually to make the shift, right? To shift from masculine to the feminine and to allow, to really allow. And it takes practice. So the more we do, even if we start with 1 minute, 2 minutes, it's a beautiful place to be. I love using the senses. As a Taurus, I'm going to use them. So getting some spices, perfumes, really getting into smelling them and getting them into the body and see where they go in the body. You'll feel it. Also, the other thing that I love, and that costs absolutely nothing, is you just feel things, to move hands very slowly on the hand, right? On the table, there will be a feeling you'll feel, and you just stay with that feeling. Um, Another one that I love doing is, as part of grounding, is to put the left hand on the heart and the right hand on the solar plexus, just down, um, just a bit up the belly, and to breathe in and out from that heart space, and it brings the person back into the body, right? So going back into the body is crucial for me.
Thank you so much, Aurore. This has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And
Oh, thank you for
good luck
having
with
me, Carol.
everything. Thank you.